The session today is not going to be a regular SEO session. The session today is not going to be a regular marketing session. It's a very short session that talks about SEO from a different angle. People who are familiar with SEO know that you need to do a lot of stuff to get higher. But most of the cases in competitive industries, part of your war chest is basically to hurt the competitors. So you can go up by doing great things for yourself, and you can go up by just eliminating the results above you, and that push you upwards. A disclosure, I'm not going to tell you to do stuff. I'm not going to tell you how to exactly do it, but I'm going to be talking about what can be done, how do you detect it, and what you can do against it. When your site gets dropped by a page, to 2 pages, 3 pages, you're losing a lot of revenues, and then you're coming up to analyze what happened. If you know what other people may do to you, you have better chance of fighting that phenomena. So the lecture is about avoiding third-party bad influence on your organic search ranking. I'll address that as a hacker, that is using black hat techniques, and pick on a site and say, what can I do to hurt this site in organic ranking? So let's go forward. First of all, duplicate content. And don't mistake me. When I'm saying influencing other sites, it's not your sites, it's your competitor sites. So you're saying, okay, duplicate content, I can't touch his site. How can I hurt it? So what you do basically as a hacker, you take all his site, scraps it away, puts his site, its content on a WordPress site, on parts of Wikipedia, in comments, in other very influential sites. Google detects that the content of the site is not original, it's duplicated. Now Google, as wise as it is, most of the times count the age of the domain where the content is on, rather than who displayed the content first. So by taking your site content and posting it on another website, you're actually hurting your site. This is what competitors can do to you, and that dramatically drops your ranking by at least 20 places. How can you fight it? Basically, you need a constant auditing of every unique paragraph within your content. You can use the Google Alert, basically for each page, take a unique content, put in the Google Alert, and once you see an alert coming up that this content is presented on other sites, just go and fight this site and tell them to drop the content, and I'll talk about this in a minute. So duplicate content, someone can take your site down. Bad incoming links. Incoming links is the easiest way to hurt a site. If I have, let's say that I'm on fourth position on the first page of Google, and I have 3 competitors above me, you go out to all those, you search for cheap backlinks, and you buy something like 2 million links for $200. That's the deals out there. It's crappy links. It's links everywhere. It's links in comments, in blog postings. It links on bad sites, banned sites, and whatever. But when Google sees this, and everything should have one anchor text, most probably something that is related to the industry. That does not make the sites above you better. It actually, Google detects it as a link buy, and a massive link buy automatically penalized the site, automatically. How do you know that someone else is doing it to you? Because people are sometimes not buying the 2 million links, they're buying 5,000, another 5,000, another 5,000, so this phenomena goes on. What you do is you put Google Alerts on your backlinks query, link column in your site, and you carefully monitor the webmaster tools. If you suddenly see a huge jump with your backlinks, go analyze where these backlinks are coming from. Most of the time, this is bad influence. Most of the time, if it doesn't hurt your ranking right now, it will sure hurt it in a while. So that's another one. The other one is bad outgoing links. And you may consider, why should I'm controlling the site? No one can put links, bad outgoing links on my site. So if you look at your site, if there's a UGC, a user-generated content on your site, people can easily place links, outgoing links on your site, just by posting on the messages there. If you have a redirector within your site, like go equal and another URL, go and find what's listed in Google. Most of the time, you'll find go equal this Viagra site, this casino site, when someone wants to hurt your site. So first of all, secure your scripts, outgoing redirect scripts. Second of all, don't allow links in UGC, no links whatsoever. So that's in regards to bad outgoing links. And again, I'm not here to teach you how to hurt your competitors, but how competitors can hurt you in order for you to fight it. IP poisoning, that's a very sneaky way. If your site is hosted on a shared hosting account, what people are doing is actually going to that ISP and ask for specific site placement on these IPs. They place 1,000, 2,000 sites on that IP. All those sites are on banned domains, all of them. Google, when it sees too many banned sites on one IP, sorry, too many websites, banned sites on one IP, it automatically associates that bad reputation with that specific, with the other sites on that IP. And it happens a lot. Even Microsoft is doing it even much worse than it actually can ban the entire Class C. So, a word of advice, take a dedicated hosting, probably if you can, sorry, take the entire Class C and host it there. You should control your destiny. Spam content, another one. If you've got any UGC, any user-generated content, comments, or whatsoever, any form within your site, people, and usually it's automated bot, are coming in, placing words and content which is unrelated to your site, content related to Viagra, Cialis, gambling, weapons, porn, adult, and we're seeing it all over the place. People are not even aware, because very few people are actually doing careful moderation. One thing you should know is that usually people who want to hurt your site, when they're posting this UGC, they're actually posting it in very small fonts compared to the other fonts. They're posting some HTML code where you're looking at the form, you're not seeing it. So what you really need to do is put Google alerts or whatever the alerts on the words. There are about 70 words that from pharmaceutical, Viagra, poker, casino, adult, and porn. And whenever such a word appears on your site, you'll get an alert and you go and deal with this problem. And it's not the greatest solution because it's after Google seeing it, and careful moderation is much better, but at least this is a prevention to escalate the issue. DMCA complaints. We talked about duplicate content. DMCL, Digital Millennium Copyright Act, means that someone can complain that you stole its content, its images, its whatever. Today, there are bots out there to sell, and there is an automated machine that sends to Google thousands of fake DMCA complaints, fake ones. You don't even know about them if you're not looking carefully at the Webmaster Tools. You're not getting any notification on them. But what Google, when it does get your DMCA and you're not responding, it takes that specific page off the listing. That means that someone in 2 days can actually wipe up your entire site, and you have no clue, because the site hasn't changed, nothing's changed. Someone complained to Google, you didn't get a complaint because you were not looking at the Webmaster Tools. So this is yet another, always watch the Webmaster Tools DMCA alerts and actually handle those. 302 hijacking. 302 means temporary redirect for the technical people. That means that someone can put a site out there on a domain, and when Googlebot or MSN bot coming in, they're saying, okay, the content is temporarily moved to your own domain. But when a regular person comes to this site, it doesn't do this redirection. What it means is, if the site where the 302 was done on is much older than your domain, it gets listed in the search results. So what happens is someone actually steals, without touching your site, your entire content, your entire listing. Google thinks that it presents the right content for the publisher, but the regular users through clocking start seeing other results. If you're seeing a huge drop in traffic, always look for 302 redirect. This is a very common technique in order to steal traffic. Brand hijacking. There are many ways to steal the brand. One of the most popular one exists in ClickBank, etc., where there's a product named XYZ, and people are putting sites out there and saying, XYZ, read this before you do it, or whatever. Also, brands usually assume that they'll get listed for their brand names. Most of the great traffic that comes is usually brand name oriented. People are actually targeting the brand name, pulling a lot of link to the brand name, because it's usually not a competitive term, and actually bypassing the merchant with the brand name. And that's the brand hijacking. What the best thing to handle it is actually to issue a trademark over the brand name and actually file a complaint and actually seize the domain, seize the content, and fight and use a trademark laws. And last one is social engineering. Social engineering has become very common. When I'm talking about social engineering, I'm talking about, for example, access to the Webmaster Tools account. How many people do here have Webmaster Tools account? Good. How many people have changed the password in the last week? In the last month? In the last year? The norm is to change the password every 2 weeks. Basically, if you are using a Webmaster Tools, someone can get into your account just by phoning the secretary and said, I lost this one. People don't think that it's a very secretive information. But actually, through the Webmaster Tools, you can suddenly, if you get the access, you can tell that the site is now targeted Tanzania, or that the site have relocated to a new domain name, or their pages on the site are blocked, or whatever. Access to the Webmaster Tools is the most critical thing in influencing a site position. I'm not talking about accessing the servers where you can change the HT access and all the other technical redirects information, but social engineering is something that needs to be understood by everyone in the company. Everyone that has access to password or to logins should understand that this is secretive information, shouldn't be given out by mistake. Basically, that's all. Just as a summary, people are thinking about SEO as a very elegant way to move things forward. You've got to understand that in the competitive industries, the gambling, the pharma, the porn, the weapons, the drugs, all those industries, these techniques that I've laid out are norm. That's including DDoS and other techniques. It used to be that those techniques were only used on these areas. We're now seeing it on going into regular, common e-commerce stuff, and if you're not hurt by those techniques now, you will in the next few years, because it's spreading all over. The best way to handle those things is actually to know that they exist and actually monitoring the stuff. That's all what we're trying to do here.